We're on the 9.1 Independent Practice. This is page 241. I'm going to use the whiteboard on these types of problems. A lot of kids are going to be tempted to do these mentally, which I understand. I would be too if I was a student. But it's really easy to mess these up. Like, for example, number 22, a lot of kids want to put 10 to the 10th power. But it's not 10 to the 10th power, it's 10 to the 2nd power. And here's why. What does 10 to the 2nd power mean? It means 10 times 10. And everyone knows 10 times 10 is 100. If I put a 10 in here, it wouldn't mean 10 times 10. It would mean 10 times 10, 10 times, which would be a gigantic number. So that's to the 2nd power. This one's not to the 4th power. A lot of kids want to put 2 to the 4th power. It's 2 to the 3rd power. Because what does 2 to the 3rd power mean? It means 2 times 2 times 2. And that seems like 6, but it's not. Watch. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So it's to the 3rd power. So I'm going to use a whiteboard here to prove these answers. And if you did them mentally and you get them wrong, that's okay. Just fix them. This is going to be 5 to the 2nd power because that means 5 times 5. And this is going to be 3 to the 3rd power because that means 3 times 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 here is 9. And 9 times 3 is 27. All right, we got those first 4 done. Let's do the next 4. Let's skip number 26 for now. We'll come back to it in just a minute. Number 27. What is 14? When is 14 equal to 14? It's when it's to the 1st power. Number 28. 2 to the what equals 32? You can just start going like this and do a bunch of 2's. And stop when you get to 32. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. I need to do another times 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's. That makes it to the 5th power. It's 2 to the 5th power. And now let's do our fraction ones. I'll go back and do number 26 and number 29. It's not as hard as it looks. It looks more complicated than it really is. What you want to do is you want to treat them as different problems. So let's do the first one first. 1 times 1 is 1. That's not the hard part. What about this one right here, 13? How many times do you need to multiply 13 by itself to get to 169? Well, if you just do 169 divided by 13, you get 13. So what that means is that it's going to be 13 times 13, and it's going to be 1 times 1. Well, how many 1's are there? 2. How many 13's are there? 2. That means it's to the 2nd power. It's really similar here for number 29. How many 8's do you multiply together to get 64? It's 8 times 8. And how many 9's do you multiply together to get 81? It's 9 times 9. Well, since there's 2 8's and 2 9's, that just means it's to the 2nd power. All right, good job. Done with the first set. Those weren't too bad. Let's check out the next set. These aren't too bad either. I think I went way too far. I'm on this set right here. Write the missing base. All right, once again, I'm going to write what these things mean using my whiteboard. What's the missing base that something times itself is going to equal 1,000? And we're going to trust our instincts on these. If I end in a bunch of zeros right here, a good guess would be something like 10 or 100 or something like that. So I'll just start with 10. What is 10 times 10 times 10? Now, are you wondering why I got 3 of them? It's because there's a 3 here. That means that there are 3 numbers. So 10 times 10 is 100. Times 10 is 1,000. So I guessed it right. It's 10. The answer is 10 to the 3rd power. How about 256? 256 equals something to the 4th power. To the 4th power means something times itself 4 times. Well, what would that be? You could try guessing 4. You could try guessing, I wouldn't try guessing something like 3. This is an even number, so I would guess an even number. Odd numbers don't multiply together to become even numbers. So I would try an even number like 2 or 4. And since I don't know any better, I would start by guessing 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. That's not big enough. So then I might try 4 instead. And 4 times 4 is 16. and 4 times 4 is 16. And is 16 times 16 equal to 256? I don't know. Let's find out. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6, 15, and 2. I guessed it right. It's 4 to the 4th power. You could always check it on a calculator. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. I did 4 fours. 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 256. All right, what about number 32? Trying to show you a picture of what these things look like. This 4th power right here means something times itself 4 times has to be 16. We actually did this one when we were guessing and checking just a minute ago for number 31. It's going to be 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Makes the answer 2 to the 4th power. Number 33, I hope you know, just because you know your facts, what times itself is equal to 9. It's 3. 3 squared is 9. And that same exact logic is going to help us with number 34. Number 34 is 1/9 is equal to something squared. Whatever this thing is right here needs to be multiplied by itself. And I think it's going to be 1/3, and here's why. What is 1 times 1? It's 1. What is 3 times 3? It's 9. So the base is 1/3. It goes right here. 64 is equal to something times itself. This 2 right here means there's only 2 spaces. What times itself is 64? It's 8. 9/16. Just treat them like separate problems. 9 is equal to something times itself, and 16 is equal to something times itself. And the reason why I just put 2 spaces there each is because the exponent is a 2. So I'm going to do 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. So the answer is 3/4. Number 37 is probably the hardest one, even though it's not a fraction. What times itself 3 times is 729? 729 is a relatively large number. It's an odd number, so when we do our guess and check, we might want to try a guess. We might want to try an odd number. Let's pay attention to something right here. This one's to the 3rd power, and it was 1,000. And this one's to the 3rd power, and it's 729. So logically, it's got to be smaller than 10. So odd number smaller than 10 would include 5, 7, 9. And 5 doesn't seem like a good guess because that would end in a 5. So 7 seems like a very logical guess. Let's try that one. Although I actually remember doing 7 times 7 times 7 previously. 7 times 7 is 49. Now I need to do that times 7. 49 times 7. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 6 is 34. That's not equal to 729. It's not really even close. So 7 doesn't seem like the best guess. Or 7, I mean, we just proved it's not the right answer. So, but we said it's got to be smaller than 10 because if it's 10, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. And I'm only going up to 729. I wouldn't try 8. That seems like it would be an even number. So I'm going to try 9. 9 times 9 is 81 times 9. And let's just see if 81 times 9 is 729. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 8 is 72. And it was right. That was the right guess. It's 9 to the 3rd power. And once again, you could check on a calculator. 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. It was right. Okay, good job. You're done with the beginning of this page. The next video will go into the word problems and we'll finish the page.